POG will be Faker pick on Twisted Fate. 5 out of 9 votes picked up by...
This got to be a pick away from Sorka again, right? Because I feel like the Zoe is not in position at the moment where the champion in of itself is so strong that it warrants like a blind pick.
Yeah, blind pick ability, not necessarily. Israel Zoe is so strong, but instead they do decide to go towards a top lane matchup, and it's Akali. So Akali's been changed quite a lot on this patch. You're not really looking towards any late game team fighting though, if you do lock away the Karma. Just because there is not a lot of frontline available outside of just Cuzz, and so because this is a pick that we were expecting to have a bit more power in this series, especially based on what Cuzz has already showed us in their Harma Live series.
Becca freezing the wave there, or attempting to at the very least make it.
As Faker once again not going to find the bubble. Shockwave comes down this time as the Ignite is actually utilized very early. Meanwhile, a fight on the top side of the map as well. Onslaught of Shadows comes down. Canna from over the wall, and the execution is absolutely perfect to get the first blood for the Akali. So necessary, as well as now Kingen in some trouble. But he should be all right as Faker lands that bubble, actually flashes on top of him, picks up the barrier, as well as now Sulka's the one that has to run. The flash over, Faker finds the solo kill, but it's answered in the end as well.
It's action all over the map. Bot lane, fighting, mid lane. It's 6. I want to double check it here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
if
you're
he doesn't
right.
hit the smite on the big Krug, or is it just even the little ones? No, he needs to hit the smite, because then you have ult advantage and it's just a free kill.
And it might have actually been very similar for Pyoshik as well, as they had been farming at almost exactly the same clip. So, winning out on that 50-50, so important here for T1 towards the top side. As we have a look at Faker pressing as many summon spell buttons as he could possibly find.
Yeah, and makes a little bit of sense knowing that the Shockwave has already been invested and Faker sees the barrier. Unfortunately, doesn't really get as much value from the second flash, still in the middle of a minion wave.
Well, Cuzz gonna save Faker here in the mid lane as well.
Herald is a really big one. Both teams are collapsing.
Yep, in they go. There's Carrier flashing on forward. Onslaught of Shadows comes down and Sulka completely removed from the fight. Finds a couple with the Shockwave, but he is too far out of position. The rest of DRX say, well, I guess we'll take a consolation blue buff and hope things are going to be okay. Chains of Corruption land onto Becca. Quickness utilized. He will get himself out of the way. So
deal with him because he got a couple of kills early, and then the poke from Faker and Teddy is not fun to play to. Sorka finds some nice sidesteps, but the real problem is just the all-around positioning. Can't be that far up with your bot lane, is slower on the rotation. It's not end of the world. Again, the wombo combo is insane. Might find a kill here.
Yeah, we're looking for it. Pyoshik's going to dive on top of Carrier right now, keeping himself alive for a while, but the exhaust is going to be put down. Solar Flare comes through as well. They trade 1-for-1, and now Teddy's looking for more. The teleport coming through to help out. And there's a horse down here at the same time. Piercing Arrow will connect. The Rampage just has a drive-by. And now Faker gets to come on through down all those summoners with the W. And T1 will mop it up. And backflip to get out of the way of the UFO. And Sulka will come through, deny that minion wave. Shockwave's going to be flashed, and Canna should make it to relative safety, but will have to give up control of his turret.
And Teddy, that they can actually turn this around, that this is not something that you're going to get away with just trading a kill, and it's because these double ultimates are available, right? So the damage coming through here is not nearly enough. There comes the Solar Flare, and then the W-empowered Q from Varus is just...
it's gross.
Disgusting. And this is the power spike that you're looking for. Getting a couple of kills this early is really nice, as Cuzz says, that's fine, I'll tank the turret, no problem whatsoever. Bao has no amount of skill in the world, unfortunately they can outplay that. And the topside play doesn't work out for DRX.
Yeah, so the response is not going to be there, they just lose 3. As we get a look in on Teddy, as Kingan's just going to get a solo kill. So I guess in a delayed sense, the top lane play does work out, as now Kingan will be able to get a hold. Struggling a little bit in this matchup. It does certainly feel like Kingan has been the better man as far as the 1v1.
And this is with a counter pick, right? Like, it's not something you get away with. Kingan, as you say,
crushed it straight up.
Mega Gnar, and there's a lot of damage available.
Yep, and now he's going to be put into the blender. Canna gets underneath the turret, and you don't even need perfect execution to lock that one down. Cuzz is just saying, well, you can try and escape if you can. Gnar is going to get him out of there, or at least attempt to, as Canna is going to avoid the UFO. The wallop is going to be good though, and Soccer is going to come on forward.
Best turret to go down for Zoe, because now all of a sudden the mid lane is dangerous territory.
Oh, speaking of which, Faker looking for it onto Solka here. Prowler's Claw comes out as well. Shockwave does find two this time. Faker has to flash to get himself out. He waits, has the blast going. The dissonance isn't enough damage. But that is definitely a very friendly move. As
DRX, they get desperate and they start making plays like this. They don't have cryo, they don't have the vision, they don't have the setup.
Oh, can Keenan find it again? Canna is able to get that backflip to get him out of the way, and now it decides to go back in. There's a perfect execution. Locks it down, turns it straight onto the face of Kingen. However, he's still going to fall down. Pyoshik does have the ulti button. The Nagari moment.
But
100% agree.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Bao, remember that cleanse from before? Now the flash is down. Solar Flare comes through. There's a lot of CC available here. Grand entrance, that's pretty cool, but I think Faker can actually survive this pretty comfortably, and now Becca has to escape. Solka going to move on down. He's been putting out fires this entire game.
Their comp is, or their draft rate is so good at running over, and this is something that we see even here with Kana getting taken low, but Kingen frozen his entire rotation, doesn't actually get it. And this is a change to Akali, right? The second activation of her E has so much damage now. It's no longer like a 50-50, it's a super backloaded ability where the second the going in actually gives you all the damage that you need. The punish is really nice from Pyoshik, but the damage is already done. Akali getting fed is a problem in of itself, and here you benefit from Karria's and Teddy's impeccable laning presence that they've had the entire game. And honestly, there isn't that much that you can do as the DRX bot lane, because with this matchup, you're gonna be shoved in. If you get shoved in, like, Edelso of all things is rough.
It is. 2 items already completed as well. Horizon Focus is done as now Cuzz going to get engaged on in the bouncy castle, and not going to be pulled back by that shockwave as Cuzz is going to ulti out to get out of there. Okay, Pyoshik now should be able to find Teddy. The flash comes through, but the stun is going to be there. Pyoshik own wrecks the turret, and Bao needs more of an R-bar here. See where he can actually gather it as Faker. Fair bit of poke right now as well, as Becca might not even be able to quickness in now with that health bar. And is this... It's just Infernal Soul stolen away. The backs are even stopped as Solka is in trouble. He does find a defensive shockwave. Flashes his way out and he survives. Somehow they trade supports. That's not the target that they were looking for, so definitely a sick play is now Kana. Off to the side, he's looking for Kingen. Ults his way through and then gets back to the Shuriken.
Oh, that's a big teleport, Kingen, if he can get his Narbar.
Yeah, it's in a pretty good position right now, but you can see Cuzz just going to try and execute Bao. Bao, he's out of this fight, burning down with the red buff as Faker locks down Kingen as well. Cuzz is fighting 1 versus 3, by the way, and this is why DRX needed to try and go for that reset. They had their back stopped, and Cuzz says absolutely not, my friend. And now Pyoshik at the mercy of T1. The huge piercing arrow is going to connect and connect again, as Beck is now in so much trouble. He has to get back to his fountain, and T1 everything and the kitchen sink, as we are going to have a look at this replay once again. Carrier, I mean, it was ultra optimistic, but Solka actually surviving here was just insane.
It was really nice. I was just shocked by what is about to happen, where Cuzz is like, actually no, this is the line. I can go in here, because he runs away, and I'm like, no, what is this? Hecarim, I might have reminded you, Hecarim was nerfed, and yes, this is a fat Hecarim. Yes, he has the Infernal Soul available, but he's building full tank.
Yeah. Infernal Soul, pretty revolting. As we're gonna have a look at live here, Carrier looking for Kingen. He'll find it. Oh my God, Teddy, that damage is ridiculous. Cuzz trying to find an opening, does have everything available, and he's just going to settle for locking up this inhibitor. Solar Flare comes out now as Becca. Now with the quickness, in goes Carrier, goes Golden as well. Look at the AoE, it's revolting! Bao will just get tidied up by this horse. The perfect execution to get right on top of all these carries. That's a very, very quick ace. You blink and you'll miss it, and T1 are in round 2 of the playoffs.
And it was a valiant effort from DRX. I still insist that they played better than any of us had expected. This team was slumping, they gave it their all, they showed what they were made of, but it's a deserved win for T1 that clearly, once they get going, they know how to close out these type of games.
Oh yeah.
While the first couple of games were kind of rough, game 3 and 4, none of that.
Not at all. It did feel a little bit like DRX after, you know, their second game. It was beautiful, but with how heavily they were shut down in Game 3, that's going to play on your mentality. I felt like a little bit of that happened here in game number 4, but I'm just really glad that DRX made sure that they kept T1 honest in this series. I think everyone knew that the relative power levels between these two squads wasn't all that close at this stage. We have a look at the winning push here from T1.
메가다 메가 상대 메가
상대 메가. 노플이야 메가.
미드라인
내가
들어가
묶어줄게, 내가 묶어줄게. 맞춘 게 있어.
볼게
잠깐 박아라.
정면 이겨 대범 나이스
Was that one
Nice.
out of Teddy that did
수고요.
all of that damage? I think so.
초반에
yes.
빡세네.
Just,
그지?
it's ridiculous.
이제
그래도
Infernal Soul Lethality
잘했다.
Varus. It's not very fun to play against, and it's interesting that T1
죽었어.
prioritizes this Varus so heavily, which is a distinctive mark away from picks like the Kai'Sa that we saw Hanwha Live put a lot of importance on. And I wonder how the metagame is going to keep developing as we progress throughout this split, right? What are we going to see? What is going to happen? As, yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Going over to Cuzz on Hecarim. That's less runs away, even putting so much damage onto the opponents.